My name is Jordan Ellis, 35 years old, marketing manager in Lincoln, Nebraska. I live alone in a condo that smells faintly of burnt espresso and ambition, both of which built it. Every tile, every lamp, every quiet night was earned through deadlines, campaigns, and decks finished long after the city went to sleep. That Monday morning had the same stale flavor as most: lukewarm coffee, fluorescent lights, and the tense rhythm of a team stand-up that had gone off script. Someone was defending a budget line item, voices sharp but polite. I half listened, thumb tracing the rim of my mug, until my phone buzzed against the conference table. A tiny siren cutting through corporate calm. The screen lit up. Kayla, my kid sister. The text was short. Need $2,800 for prom. Send now. For a second, my pulse stumbled. I stared at the number. $2,800, not a loan, not a request, a demand. A limo, a dress. A single night wrapped in rhinestones and filtered selfies. My jaw tightened. Under the table, I typed, "Earn it yourself." 3 minutes later, two new messages arrived. From Mom, Linda. "Pay or don't call yourself family." From Dad, Frank. "Do the right thing." My throat went dry. Around me, my team kept debating ad placements, oblivious. I stared at the glow of those words until they blurred. For years, I'd been quietly funding my family. Helping, as I called it. A joint account in my name, shared with my parents, had started as a kindness. Groceries, gas, medical bills, emergencies, all the necessities I told myself I was supporting. It felt responsible, even noble. But that text chain shifted something. It wasn't a request anymore. It was expectation. A reflex they didn't even hide. By evening, the anger had settled into something colder, clearer. I sat cross-legged on my living room floor, scrolling through months of transfers. $1,200 for house repairs, $800 for utilities, another $600 I didn't remember authorizing. I kept going, the numbers forming a pattern of quiet depletion. Each transaction was a small surrender money I told myself was keeping the peace, maintaining connection. But all I'd really been maintaining was their dependence. I thought about Kayla's birthdays that sparkled while I was too busy working weekends to attend. About Mom's easy guilt trips, "You know we'd do it for you," and Dad's silences that meant obligation. At midnight, I stood over my laptop like a soldier over a detonator. My hands didn't shake as I began to close the spigots. Streaming subscriptions I paid for but never used. Auto transfers scheduled for the first of each month. Family phone plan extensions. Click, cancel, revoke. Each action was a tiny act of defiance, but also relief. The joint account stayed open. I wasn't ready to confront them yet, but the flow stopped. By 8:30 the next morning, the quiet was almost disorienting. No buzzing notifications, no anxious math before logging into my own accounts. I made coffee and tried to feel free. Then my phone chimed. Bank alert. Large transaction $5,000 withdrawal from joint account. My stomach dropped. I reread the message, certain it was a mistake. But it wasn't. 5,000. Gone. The air seemed thinner. This wasn't about prom anymore. This was something deeper, a pattern I'd refused to see. And now, it had my name on it. I needed facts, not feelings. 2 doors down from my office was Ellen Ward, our company's in-house counsel and an old friend. She'd left for law school years ago and come back with sharper edges and a steadier presence. I walked into her office, folder in hand. "Quick favor?" I asked, keeping my voice level. She raised an eyebrow. "Bank stuff?" I nodded. Within minutes, we were logged into my online portal. The joint account ledger scrolled by in a river of transactions. At first, it looked routine utilities, groceries. Then the current shifted. Credit card payments, auto loans, a company I didn't recognize, Lark Financial Services, then boutiques, restaurants, a travel agency, and, unbelievably, a charge to Premier Prom Planning, LLC. Ellen leaned closer. "This isn't household spending," she said quietly. "They're managing debt and lifestyle." Her words hit harder than I expected. I swallowed. heat prickling the back of my neck. We ran the totals by year. When the final number appeared, my breath caught. $100,000 withdrawn since I'd opened the account. 100,000 gone to bills I didn't make, cars I didn't drive, dinners I never ate, dresses I never saw. I remembered Mom's soft, urgent voice just this once, honey. Dad's quiet, you know we'll pay you back. Kayla's sparkle when she got what she wanted. All of it replayed in new, harsher light. That afternoon, I called the bank. I froze transfers, revoked every debit card, reset alerts, locked down the account completely. Then I wrote one careful email. The joint account is closed to you. I know about the withdrawals. There will be no more money. Within 10 minutes, the fallout began. Kayla called, first her voice a mix of outrage and disbelief. You can't do this! We need it! For what? I asked. Another dress? She hung up. Mom texted a paragraph about survival and family obligations. Dad sent a single line. Think about what you're doing to us. I did. And for the first time, I chose myself. That night, I printed every statement. Each page felt heavier than paper should. Tomorrow, I'd bring them to their house proof of what they'd done, and of what I was finally ending. The next day, I parked outside their split-level home, the same house I'd grown up in, the same driveway where I'd practiced parallel parking. The place looked smaller than I remembered, edges dulled by years of deferred maintenance and debt. Inside, the air smelled like coffee and resentment. Mom sat on the couch, back straight, expression tight. Dad hovered near the window, hands in his pockets. Kayla scrolled on her phone, pretending not to notice me. I placed the folder on the coffee table. I know about the second mortgage, I said evenly. And the credit cards. And the prom planner. Mom's mouth pinched into a familiar scowl. You don't air family business. You made it my business when you spent my income, I said. Dad's voice hardened. We were drowning, Jordan. You were supposed to help. I did help, I said, tapping the pages. To the tune of $100,000. That wasn't help, it was survival at my expense. That was for necessities, Mom said. Groceries, insurance. Groceries don't come from Lark Financial or a travel agency, I interrupted. Her jaw clenched. Then Kayla looked up, cheeks flushed. I didn't ask you to open that account. You chose to. You asked for $2,800 and called it love, I said quietly. Love isn't a wire transfer. The silence that followed was like static. Sharp, burning, endless. They argued, deflected, rewrote history in real time. I didn't shout back. I gathered the papers and stood. Here's my boundary, I said. No more money. If you want my presence, it has to be without invoices. Mom blinked first, stunned. Dad straightened. Then we're finished, he said flatly. I nodded. If that's your choice. I walked out before the tears came. In the driveway, I blocked their numbers. Then I sat in the car, breathing until my pulse slowed. The folder lay beside me, edges soft from handling. For the first time, I didn't feel like a daughter failing her family. I felt like a person reclaiming her life. Weeks passed. The quiet that had once terrified me now felt like oxygen. I cooked for one without guilt. I checked my accounts and saw stability instead of subtraction. One afternoon, a cousin texted. They filed for bankruptcy. House listed. Kayla got a job at the mall. I stared at the message for a long time. Grief came not for the money, but for the illusion of closeness I'd spent years buying. Beneath it, though, was relief. I met with Ellen again, closed every lingering loophole. Together we built a budget, one centered on my future, not my family's emergencies. Therapy followed. Unlearning guilt was slower work than canceling auto payments. I learned that obligation and love aren't synonyms, that helping someone who refuses to help themselves isn't kindness, it's erasure. Spring came to Lincoln, soft and gold. I opened my windows, let the air in. One Saturday, I sorted through my closet and found a gown I'd once bought for a company gala. An emerald silk thing I'd worn exactly once. I brought it to a local thrift shop and handed it to a teenage girl shopping for prom. She tried it on, spun once in front of the mirror, and laughed that bright, unfiltered sound of someone who still believes in beginnings. Watching her, I felt something uncoil inside me. That joy, simple, earned, unbought, was the right kind of freedom.